The world of Azure AI, it's huge, right? It's absolutely packed with powerful tools. But with so many options, it can be really tough to figure out where to even begin. So today, we're going to build a kind of mental map to help navigate this entire ecosystem.
And this, right here, is the core challenge every single developer faces. You've got a specific problem you need to solve. Maybe you're processing invoices or generating code or analyzing video. But which of the dozens of Azure services is the right one? Because choosing wrong can cost you a lot of time and, let's be honest, a ton of headaches. So to cut through all that noise, we're taking a pretty unique approach. We've taken 50 real-world scenarios, all pulled from an Azure AI certification assessment. But look, we're not studying for a test here. We're using these practical, everyday problems to build a clear roadmap that shows you exactly which tool to use and, more importantly, why. Okay, ready to dive in? We're going to start by pulling intelligence out of data. Then we'll jump into the super creative power of generative AI. After that, we'll see how AI perceives the visual world with computer vision. Then we'll orchestrate some smart AI agents. And finally, and this is crucial, we'll cover how to deploy and secure everything. All right, first up, let's talk about one of the most common business needs out there, making sense of the absolute mountains of documents and data we all seem to be buried under. This is such a classic problem. Manually entering data from invoices or receipts, it's painfully slow and just begging for errors. You need a way to automatically grab specific bits of info, like who's the vendor, what's the total amount, what's the date. So what's the right tool for this job? And the answer is Azure AI Document Intelligence. Now, what's really cool here is this idea of pre-built models. It means that for super common documents, think invoices, receipts, even W-2 tax forms, you don't have to train a model from scratch. Azure has already done all the heavy lifting for you. Okay, let's switch gears to a totally different kind of data intelligence. Imagine you've built a search for products on a website. You want to show your users how many results fall into each category. That little sidebar that says laptops 50 or monitors 23. How do you actually get Azure AI Search to do that for you? So, here's the crucial distinction you have to get right. The facetable attribute, that's what does the counting and shows those counts to the user. It creates that handy little menu on the side of e-commerce sites. Filterable, on the other hand, is what makes that menu actually work. It's what lets a user click on laptops and actually narrow down the results. It's a small technical detail for sure, but it's the absolute key to building a search that people will actually love to use.
Now for the fun part, let's talk about creating brand new things. We're going to explore how to really use Azure's generative models to produce awesome text, images, and even code.
Getting great results from models like GPT-4 isn't magic. It's a skill, and it's called prompt engineering. And honestly, it boils down to 3 core rules. First, be descriptive. Maybe use analogies to give the model some context. Second, be super specific, because any ambiguity is your enemy. And finally, and this is a big one, remember that the order in which you ask for things can totally change the output you get. Okay, here's a real-world headache that'll drive developers crazy. The AI generates code that works, but it doesn't follow your team's style guide for how you name variables or how you write comments. So how do you fix that? How do you enforce your standards? The solution is just beautifully simple. Show. Don't just tell. Instead of trying to describe your coding standards in words, just include a short, perfect example of your company's code style right there in the prompt. The model is smart. It'll learn from that example and apply that style to the new code it generates. And of course, you have to use the right model for the right task. This table breaks it down perfectly. For really sophisticated text, you want GPT-4. For generating images from a description, DALL-E is your go-to. And for pure code generation, you look at a model that's optimized just for that, like one from the DaVinci family. Picking the wrong model is kind of like trying to use a screwdriver when you need a hammer. It's just not going to be pretty. So we've talked about generating content. Now let's look at the flip side, understanding it. This section is all about computer vision, which is basically teaching our applications to see and interpret the visual world around us. All right, here's a tricky but very real technical problem. Your facial recognition app works great with clear, high-quality photos. But in the real world, you're getting blurry images from security cameras or low-res photos people upload. How do you make the service tougher, more robust? And the fix, believe it or not, is a single configuration change. The Detection O3 model is specifically optimized to get better accuracy on small faces, faces turned to the side, and, you guessed it, blurry faces. Just knowing about these specific model settings can be the difference between a frustrating app and a really reliable one. So what if you need to detect something totally custom, like your company's specific products on a store shelf? This is the workflow, the game plan to bring that idea to life. First, you train the model with your images. Then you evaluate it. You look at metrics like precision and recall to make sure it's actually accurate. Once you're happy with how it's performing, you publish it. And that final step is the magic one. It gives you a live API endpoint that your app can call to start making predictions in the real world.
We've looked at individual AI skills, which is cool, but now let's talk about combining them to create smart agents that can handle complex, multi-step tasks. This is the next level. The key technology to know here is the semantic kernel framework. The best way to think about it is like a brain, or maybe the conductor of an orchestra for your AI agent. It lets you chain together a bunch of different skills, like calling an external API, searching a database, or running some custom function, all to accomplish one larger goal. But an agent is only as smart as the data it can actually access, right? So how do you get your agent up to speed on your company's specific knowledge base? Well, the main way is by connecting it to an Azure AI search index. This gives the agent the power to query and pull information from all your documents, which makes its responses way more relevant and accurate. And finally, let's bring this all home. I mean, building a great AI model is one thing, but running it securely and reliably out there in production, that is a whole other challenge entirely.
Oh man, every developer has seen an error like this. Your app is running perfectly in a container, and then suddenly it can't connect to the AI service, and you get this super vague mismatch error. It's so frustrating. What is even going on?
9 times out of 10, it's a simple configuration mistake. The mismatch error specifically means you're using an API key that just doesn't match the service endpoint. You might be using a key for the speech service to call the vision service, or a key from the East US region to call a resource in West Europe. Pro tip, always check your keys and your endpoints first.
Okay, this slide right here is basically your production checklist. 3 crucial things. First, authentication. You can start with simple subscription keys, but for real enterprise-grade security, you're going to want to use Microsoft Entra ID. Second, security against attacks. You have to prevent jailbreaking, and Azure's Content Safety Service is built just for that. And finally, monitoring. You need to know what's happening under the hood, and for that, you have to set up diagnostic logging, which needs both a storage account and a log analytics workspace.
So after all of that, what's the big takeaway? It's this. Mastering Azure AI isn't about memorizing every single API and feature out there. It's about building the intuition to look at a problem and immediately know which 1 or 2 tools are the perfect fit for that job. We've mapped out the whole toolkit, from understanding documents to creating with AI and deploying it all securely. We've seen that the real key is just picking the right tool for the right job. So the only question left is, what awesome thing are you going to build with it? Thanks so much for joining me.